You know that person, standing in the grocery aisle, holding two nearly identical products, turning them over, checking the price, checking the size, doing the math, the one who takes an extra 5 minutes to make a decision everyone else made in 5 seconds. And maybe that person is you, because you've probably heard the comments. It's only a few dollars. Just buy it. You worry too much about money. And maybe somewhere along the way you started wondering, are they right? Am I too careful? Or do I understand something they've forgotten? The first thing people assume is that you're trying to save money. That's partly true. But if you've been doing this for decades, the real reason goes deeper. To you, money was never just money. Most people grow up seeing money as numbers. You grew up seeing what it took to earn those numbers. You remember the early jobs, the long shifts, the weeks when the paycheck disappeared before it even arrived, swallowed by rent and groceries, and something unexpected that always seemed to show up at the worst time. And once you've spent enough years trading hours of your life for a paycheck, something changes. You stop seeing $5 as $5. You start seeing the time behind it, the hour on your feet, the effort it actually took to earn that number in your hand. That's why comparing prices was never really about products. It's about value, but it deepened further than just remembering hard work, because many of the people who compare prices the most aren't doing it for themselves. They learned it when other people depended on them. At 25, single, wasting a little money doesn't feel like much. A few dollars here or there barely registers. But then, a mortgage appears. Children appear. School fees appear. Car repairs arrive at the worst possible month. Suddenly, every decision affects more than just you. You checked because somebody was counting on you. You compared because that extra $10 wasn't really $10 anymore. It was groceries, or a school trip, or the difference between an okay month and a tight one. Those small decisions, repeated thousands of times over decades, built something nobody standing next to you in that aisle could see. A home, security, peace of mind that didn't depend on anyone bailing you out. The people laughing at the habit never saw any of that. They only saw someone reading a label too long. And here's where that habit quietly started doing something nobody intended. It stopped being about price tags and started catching things hidden behind numbers. The loan with a small, friendly monthly payment and a brutal interest rate buried in paragraph 4, where almost nobody actually reads. The free trial that quietly renews at triple the price, the moment your attention drifts elsewhere. A salary offer that sounds generous in the headline number until you actually calculate what's missing, the benefits, the hours, the fine print that changes the whole equation. Someone who spent 30 years asking, what does this actually cost me, doesn't stop asking that question at the checkout line. They ask it everywhere a number is trying to look smaller than it really is. That instinct doesn't switch off just because the setting changed from a grocery aisle to a contract sitting on a kitchen table. That same habit built something else entirely: resistance to pressure. Standing in an aisle while someone waits and choosing the cheaper option anyway means tolerating a small moment of discomfort for a better outcome. Do that enough times, in enough small moments, and it stops requiring effort. It becomes automatic, a salesperson rushing a decision. Today only, everyone else is upgrading. It's selling out fast. You should decide now. Most people feel that pressure and move with it because pausing feels awkward and the moment feels urgent even when it isn't. You feel it and pause anyway. Not because you're suspicious of everyone you meet, because you've trained yourself, 15 seconds at a time, across thousands of small decisions, not to let someone else's manufactured urgency make your decisions for you. And that training doesn't stay small. It doesn't stay confined to the grocery aisle where it started. It shows up exactly when it matters most, on the decisions that actually move a life in one direction or another. The car purchase where you already know what fair looks like because you did the research, so nobody can quietly slide an inflated number past you. The insurance renewal everyone else lets auto-renew without reading, while you actually compare it against two other quotes, even though it takes an extra evening. The contractor estimate you check against two competitors, while your neighbor just accepts the first number out of politeness, not wanting to seem difficult. People assume big decisions require a completely different kind of carefulness than small ones. They don't. It's the same 15 seconds you practiced in the cereal aisle for 30 years, just with a lot more zeros attached to the outcome. So, picture that aisle one more time. The two products, 6 inches apart. The 5 minutes everyone else skipped without a second thought. After enough years, this stopped being a habit. It became who you are. The same way some people are always early, the same way some people always keep their word, no matter what it costs them. Comparing prices became one of those quiet traits that reflects how you move through the world, carefully, thoughtfully, refusing to let urgency or pressure or somebody else's impatience make your decisions for you. That's increasingly rare in a world built to discourage exactly that kind of pause. We live in a culture that rewards speed. Buy now, decide now, upgrade now, don't overthink it. The person comparing prices is doing something almost rebellious in that environment. They're slowing down long enough to actually think. So maybe it was never about being cheap. Maybe it means you learned decades ago something most people never fully learn in a lifetime. Money is time. Money is effort. Money is sacrifice, converted into a number on a price tag. And once you've truly learned that, it's very hard to stop looking at the price tag, no matter how comfortable life eventually becomes. Because you were never comparing products, you were comparing value, and that says a lot about you. Think about what that actually looks like now. Not in a grocery aisle, in real life. You're not anxious about next month. You're not still paying for something you bought 10 years ago that felt urgent at the time. You're not working past the point you wanted to because the math never quite added up. The people who called you cheap didn't see any of that coming. They saw someone reading a label too long. They didn't see someone quietly building the only thing money can actually buy when you use it correctly. Not things, not status, not the appearance of doing well. Freedom. The freedom to say no. The freedom to stop when you're ready. The freedom to sleep without the low hum of financial anxiety that follows people who never paused long enough to do the math. That's what 15 seconds in a grocery aisle built. 30 years of 15 seconds. And it turns out, that's enough. More than enough. Before you go, I want to ask you something. Do you still compare prices before buying something? And what's one money lesson you learned growing up that you've never forgotten? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one.